forward line hasn't been A grade. This will be a really interesting 30 minutes of footy.
Clearances level so far, 7 apiece. As we start the second quarter, and Natanui gives Prudis and West Coast the advantage. Marston's got the lead in the race for it, but Johnson works the angles and cuts it off. Good pressure from West Coast, but Johnson able to paddle. And along came Pav. Rosa also applying a tackle there, but Barlow's able to escape.
There's the kick.
And there it is, just too rushed.
And he wasn't under pressure either there. You need to do a lot better than that, Barlow. That's really poor footy.
Schofield.
In fact, it's what's really holding you back as a player, and that's hitting up targets. He wins it all right. He works hard. Just got to get a little bit more class in that disposal.
Here's Glass on the way out. Shuey makes a break. Now Gaff. They're just one step ahead there, the Eagles. This kick has to be hit. And Darling. Fantastic hands. Silvani was right there with him. He gave some help too off to Shuey to enable him to find McKenzie. Oh, that's great decision by De Boer to go. He could have stayed or gone. He went. Doesn't mount to much, but it all adds up as the day progresses. McKenzie, not quite perfect. Selwood as the ball found the turf. Gaff got it from Prudis. He heard the call of the umpire. McFarlane chances his arm. As Gerard goes to ground here in the box.
He's a bit unlucky there, McKenzie. I think that was more than 15. I think the umpire was caught out there.
There's a fumble, Hutto, on the cough button.
Roger's still with us. Sandlin's in front. All right, so some interference with Daniel Kerr's arm. Oops. Bit of a change-up on the kick. Hill releasing it. Broughton found Johnson on the very last line. Delicate operation. And now Pavlich on the break. Clark out to his right. He'll use Main through the middle. Who has to wait until Pavlich is ready to go again, and he is ready for action. Griffin was standing, but Main, he's into the 50 now. They've worked this pretty well, like a game of checkers. Over the top, Clark runs in, finishes it off. That's the winning move.
Well, how good was that switch from Johnson down at fullback, who's been everywhere in this game so far. They moved the ball from coast to coast. They kept the ball on the body. They haven't been able to do that all day. Pavlich running from defensive 50 to forward 50. Main was involved. And Zach Clark, who we spoke about in the first quarter, was touchless and was caught out of position a few times, did a great job there just to steady and finish off what's been a frustrating first part of the game for him.
And Roo, you hit the nail on the head. Michael Johnson, he is owning Derby 35 at this present moment. A little bit of a criticism in the past from him is he's hitting his targets, but he's hitting them today. He's getting plenty of possessions. A prime mover for him.
Out of the middle, Natanui. Little dance was all right. Got it through to Kerr, and look where Prudis has broken to already. He's got Shepherd inside. He just couldn't pick it up immediately, and Hill made sure life was tough for him. So the Fremantle operation begins from half-back. Oh, Neil will regret that handball, but he was there as backup. Goes short. It was hard for Crichton. Draw free.
Absolutely brilliant stuff by Mundy. Sixth then said he was about to be tackled. He just made sure his hands were free and still got the handball away.
West Coast are going to do something about Johnson. Far too much ball.
Neil, who kicked a brilliant goal last week involving 3 efforts, and it was one that Fremantle found all too rare. Top of the square here, they're just lurking around too. Fremantle already in case the error was made. It wasn't. Waters got the backing back Rosa as it settles. Darling will work hard for him. He went this way and then back the other way to get away from Silvani. Well done, Silvani was persistent. Darling, though, just seems to have command. I was going to say he's commanded the turf better than Silvani, and just as I said it, he went to ground. And they've coughed it up.
Well, Lynch was magnificent there. It was just a bad bounce that beat him getting it to Cox.
Right off to Pavlich. And they're deep again with the kick. Promising build-up. Griffin, who was all over and around him, Glass, but didn't infringe. McKenzie, Butler. A little bit of uncertainty on the faces of the Eagles as they come away from defence.
And Pavlich having a massive influence early in the second quarter through the middle of the ground. He needs to be addressed by his direct teammate.
Well, he's had 5 effective disposals in this quarter already.
And 12 for the game.
Prudis, did no favours at all for Selwood. Scooped up by Duffield. Needs to make this one count. free kick. You heard the explanation as to why. Make your own mind up right now. That looked like a reasonable explanation from the umpire. What do you think, Jerry?
I reckon both were right.
It's 8-2 in favour of West Coast Eagles for free kicks already today.
If his name had been Smith, he would have been a much better chance of getting it.
No, that's a fair call. I reckon the umpire might have summed it up okay too. Hearn finds Prittis. Stretch it out, Rosa. Had to give and knew that. Cox. Marston keeps on coming. They're advancing the Eagles. Indulges in a bounce. He just didn't quite get the logistics right heading into the 50. Silvani. Had a good battle back there. Johnson. Now McFarlane into full stride. Not sure who he was trying to kick to, but it was always going straight to Selwood. He felt the heat from both sides. Ballantyne gets it back for De Boer. He kicked it down to Main, who was telling him to kick it somewhere else. Had to recover his senses quickly. Did that well enough.
She's sharp, the Dockers at the moment.
Yeah, they are. Ballantyne's been amongst. Nice little mark from Shepherd, and boy, it was timely for them. They are on the back foot, the Eagles, at the moment.
This is the best 10 minutes of footy the Eagles have played in probably 5 weeks.
The Dockers?
The Dockers, yeah.
Best since the opening round against Geelong, I suspect. As Lynch has the mark. No answers for West Coast at the moment about how to get the ball forward. Maybe here's the answer. Natanui, but there was Fremantle players everywhere. Silvani lost his timing there. McKinney just had to get it through to Hill, and he was away. It's easier said than done.
Dropped it.
Dawson. Interesting for him to decide to keep it in. Could still end up being a good, positive move, but Barlow has to do something with it.
That is the ultimate kick of making it someone else's problem.
Well, it has. And might be his soon enough, because the ball's coming straight back in by Waters and then Shepherd, who's been busy.
And herein lies the issue for the Dockers, Roo. They've been in great form for the last 5 or 6 minutes. Heaps of pressure, and you look at the scoreboard, and they've just got the 1 goal out of it.
Yep, no, you're spot on, Jared. They're just not capitalising on the amount of play they've had when they go forward.
Shepherd kicks it up, knowing he's got height down there. Hill from the side. Almost. Broughton, Marston. And it's a throw in.
It's still 4 inside 50s each. Those turnovers in the middle of the ground costing both sides.
Sandilands, Shuey. Sandilands again, Barlow. Umpire lets them play, but there's not much space in there to do that. Natanui back on the goal line with McFarlane. 30 metres ahead. Quick snap, Prittis. Nothing they can do about that. Eagles' first goal comes some 8 minutes into the second quarter.
And it was a one-on-one, Stephen Hill. Just have a look at the match up there, right behind the goalpost. Hill gets pushed under the ball. They tap it into the space. And that's where Prittis is. Let's see who gets a hand on the ball. Sandilands hits it into that dangerous space. And they get a goal.
As a midfielder, you know the opposition ruckman, when they're in defence, is going to hit it towards the boundary. Matty Prittis, an experienced campaigner, got himself in the right spot there and sharked the goal. Well done, Matty Prittis.
His first goal of the year. John Worsfold comes the longest-serving coach of the West Coast Eagles today, passing Mick Malthouse. Shuey gets it deep inside the 50, and there's Silvani.
He's had a good start, hasn't he?
He has. Oh, that's a fair bit of pressure for Broughton to cope with. Maybe that 1 goal might really kickstart the Eagles. Yep. Silvani again. There's no room to move there either. And the boundary line was very, very welcome at that stage.
You just sense it's just lifted a notch. The Eagles have got a goal. They're looking for a back-to-back goal here. Questions been asked of Fremantle. It's a cracking game.
Well, the crowd's got involved, Jacko, haven't they now? They've had something to shout about with that goal. Cox, Marston again. Good tackling from Duffield. He was their leading tackler last week. And Tassie.
Jack, how much debate about Alex Silvani having to work so hard to earn his spot back in the side over here?
Yeah, has been. Had that injury, ankle injury, the pre-season, but one of my favourite players here in WA. Just loves the way. I love the way he goes about his job, and glad to see him back in Fremantle's defensive line.
That's a good call. He's impressed so far.
Well, they've got 2 spare players, the Eagles, just sitting back 40 metres off this pack, which means the Dockers have got extra numbers in and around the ball. One of them's Ballantyne. The issue is when they get it, who is going to apply the pace for the fast break?
So they circle around. It's a vacant goal square. If the Eagles, like Prentice in this situation, can dab it over the top of the defenders who are ready to close. Duffield, Ballantyne. Again, untimely moment to lose your feet. Shuey, Prentice, Gaff. It's set perfectly for him.
Prentice was lucky not to get penalised. He did take on a couple of players in an earlier stoppage there, but the umpire just holding their whistles at the minute.
The West Coast Eagles dominating the clearances in the second quarter. It's 6-0 in the second quarter in the clearances.
Ross Lyon be filthy that somebody like Gaff can be sitting off the pack in the dangerous zone. Prentice gets the ball, gets it to an outside player, and he had to ping at the sticks.
Mundy got some extra yardage with a couple of bounces, so that's a better result for Fremantle. That's even better. A little give-up handball straight to Griffin to Barlow. Had to release it to Hill. Oh, they were coming from all sides. Selwood got it back. Rue's starting to get excited up here in the boxes. Starts to rough up a little bit.
There is absolutely no room in any congestion here for players to get a clear kick or a handball. Both players are just sweating on the anticipation. Great to watch.
I don't know if I've seen a tighter game, Jared, have you?
No, I haven't seen you get out of your chair since you're either. This is good signs, Roy.
Straight back out again.
Well, we saw a game like that last night with Adelaide and Collingwood. There was no room, it was tight, and you're just waiting for a side to break down, and it was Adelaide in the last quarter, so we'll see who does it today.
Lockie Neal, but it comes to Rosa. West Coast looking a little more dangerous. Hill, he couldn't get the run up he was after. And again, it's a behind only.
Good man up there by McFarlane. They just really organised Fremantle. If it's not Silvani or Johnson or McFarlane, they've got a good team going down back at the minute.
There's a good loose ball get or a contested ball by Sam Butler as well.
Matty Rose has had 5 inside 50s already in this game.
Oh, Sandilands. That's where he comes to the fore. Barlow releasing kick to Clark, who would have sensed that there was players coming. There wasn't initially. Glass got there in the end, but that's another one that's got away from Fremantle.
So no, this one.
Not yet. Hill on the charge. Oh, look at this. That's just too good to be true. Main can stroll into goal, and Fremantle's third is coming up now.
Classic fast break footy. And it all starts because Aaron Sandlands gets a mark, gets the ball out of the congested zone for the Eagles in their forward line. Clark had to do better than that, but the pressure supplied by players around the ball was great. All of a sudden, loose ball comes out to Hill, and they've pushed one forward, and Main is just onto a deluxe delivery.
Certainly a game of opportunity, but Aaron Sandlands just had to stand up and take a mark. He certainly did that, took a contested mark, but instinct was to play on straight away, keep that ball moving forward, and that resulted the goal for Fremantle. Good stuff.
It was a little against the trend of the last 5 minutes, wasn't it? So that might be something that can help Fremantle. And there's another high tackle on Shuey.
Well, the big man, Sandlands, he may have some excuse, because it's a long way for him to get down around the hips.
Deep kick for Lynch. Oh, he handled it so well. It deserved a goal. The crowd awarded it to him, but the umpire didn't.
Boys, it's 8-0 in the clearances. West Coast Eagles dominating in this
Must have grazed the post.
Well, that looked like Pendlebury's last night.
Yeah.
Would have been one of the finer moments for Quentin Lynch if that had gone through.
How clever was that last night, the wet?
Michael Johnson.
Look like they're going to go long down the middle here. All players in the right down the corridor of the game.
Well, he decides to get an extra 20 and then go for Clark, Nananui and Sandilands. Telling little punch away from McKenzie was good stuff. That was self-inflicted. And so no Free kick deemed by the umpire. It'll be a baller.
Jared, you spoke about the SCG, Sandilands, Clark and Griffin. It's really working for him because they're not allowing Nat Nui, apart from that speak in the first quarter, he just got pushed off the line of the ball there. So laterally they're working him over at the minute.
Been watching him pretty closely. He's working when the ball's in his area, but he's not doing many kilometres in between.
Pritis lofted it again into the 50. Oh, that was viciously high from Natanui on.
A little bit of frustration there, I sense.
Johnson for Pavlich.
It's a good move, Pavlich into the guts.
Sets it up to centre half forward. De Boer had a look around to see what was there. Neil in the good spot. Griffin, Glass has this covered.
This bloke is such a good fullback.
Positions himself perfectly, doesn't he?
On 50's out, they go.
Having another great year on year. Suggestion, Jacko, he might be thinking about retirement, or is that just another one of your Derby rumours?
Well, when they get 31 and close to 250 games, they get close to the record, they've got to start retiring.
Valentine kept it low. Difficult one for Duffield. Duffield found himself up on the half-forward flank. Pavlich back out to Duffield again. Wandering ball. Griffin this time didn't try and take it himself. It was quite clever play. It might still end up in West Coast hands. Shuey, haphazard kick. Sandilands, Darling.
Daniel Kerr being held again.
They're looking after Carey, and fair enough, if the holds are on, pay the free kicks. Taggart shouldn't be allowed to get away with it, but
I think really the question there is have a press conference every Monday, all ball players, and tell the umpire you're getting tagged.
It's a smart kick in the finish. It looked ugly, but it was his only option.
Or else get on Twitter, Jagger, like Gary Ablett. Clark works his way back. Silvani, high ball, bit of a moon ball towards centre half forward. Could go any which way.
Dawson dangerous.
well done, De Boer.
What's the umpire got in mind? He's going to play holding the ball.
Zach Dawson's pushing forward.
Everyone's pushing forward at the moment. And there he is. Right on cue, Jared, as you said. We saw Duffield down there, so they're mixing it up, mixing and matching. But Gaff, he's got a long track here. Cox was his one and only target. Now it's West Coast defenders' turn to go forward. Gaff, he's got Schofield for him ready and waiting. And there he is at half forward. Just pokes it over the top to Selwood. And they've all covered a lot of territory. And it's over the line once again.
It's been Luke Shuey and Gaff getting off the chain, and Pritis. I mean, they're three key players through the middle of the ground, getting plenty of it. Marston also, he's had 5 possessions.
Well, the margin stands at 7. Natanui brings it to his feet. Again, De Boer, close quarters. Pavlich has had a mighty quarter. Back to the middle. Hill's come off the bench at the perfect moment. She'll be able to take it and do what Hill does, which is create all sorts of havoc. He's off with a couple. He's building up for a big, long kick, which is shaping for Dawson. Hearn's there right with him. Let's see what Zach's got in his bag. Not much.
Just didn't have enough tricks there, Hutto, as you rightly described.
Like a lion chasing a wildebeest there, wasn't it?
Whose side were you on there?
I was on the line.
All short stuff on the way out.
It's great work from Ballantyne. He didn't get there, but this is a side working twice as hard as we've seen them in the last few weeks.
Rosa for Hill.
Good catch.
He'd be happy with that mark. Good, strong stuff. Goes to Natanui. Oh, McFarlane fell over. Just at the wrong moment. And it meant that Natanui just had to sit there and catch. And he took a lovely mark, some 45 metres out.
And he had 1 disposal this quarter so far, Natanui, and 4 for the game. But it was a good kick and aided by the slip, obviously. Now just got to go back and finish off the good work.
So Nick Natanui, 6 goals, 1 to his name this season. Good goal-kicking form to cut the margin back to just 1. Not a problem. Big goal for the West Coast Eagles in this second term. One of the local heroes, Nick Natanui. And there's 1 point in it. Good stuff from Josh Hill.
I think that was a significant possession in the chain. Once Ballantyne wasn't able to lay the pressure up forward, it was Hill that became the link player. He got the ball in transition from defence to forward line. And then the athletic skills and the football skills combine to produce their second goal.
So we've reached the 20-minute mark, 6 remaining in this second term, and Fremantle's lead has been cut just back to 1. How different it might have been in a low-scoring game if Hill had been able to score that fast break goal. They would have really rediscovered the momentum. Fremantle instead they have to watch as West Coast take it down and score. And it's back to the tightest of struggles, as you suspect it will be for quite a while yet. Shepherd, hurried kick Selwood, takes West Coast to the wing. McGinnity not quite. Around the corner, it's Broughton's kick. Straight back for Hearn. You can spot a bit of a gap.
Off, Rosa.
Opening up through the middle. They've gone beautifully on the angles to Marston. Cox is deep, so is Lynch. He might go solo here. Marston decides to trust his left, and it landed in between the two West Coast big men.
Well, he just absolutely blew that. Luke Shuey was at the front.
Yep.
Just needed a poke, kick over the top, and Shuey's got a mark 15 metres out.
Question's going to be asked, why did he go on the left? Why didn't he front up when it was right and finish it off?
People talk about structures, though. We might see if we can get some wider vision. At the stoppage on the commentary side, they had Marston on the other side of the ground. They knew he was there, and they won the stoppage and created a shot at goal.
Good old-fashioned defensive work by West Coast initially, but now by Fremantle. Johnson somewhat laconically, as is his way, across to Clark, to half-forward, and the ball was without real hope there of stopping Schofield taking the mark. But all targets covered. So Big Cox gets on the bike and decides to give him something down the middle. Or else he goes short to Rosa. There it was. Just along the line, and inch by inch. They creep along the boundary here. 4 minutes 20. Safely to Pritis. Start to shuffle back a little, the Fremantle defence. All trying to stay goal side, which means that there is perhaps an opportunity to push forward, as Lynch does. Nice ball from Dawson. Kerr found a way through, and he's wobbled the kick to the goal square. Man in front, Darling. Silvani won the first battle, but Darling, he's a hard man to keep down. Quick hand Silvani back to Barlow, and will it be mission accomplished? Not yet. The pressure turned up another notch. Barlow heaved it outside. Crichton with Shuey, and it's over and out once again.
Jesus, good hard footy. I mean, Daniel Kerr, what he did down here was as hard as it could possibly, with Crowley hanging out his back pocket, still managed to win the ball, couldn't kick the goal, and then it was just furious around the contest. Good footy by both sides.
Kerr takes the initiative off to Shuey. They pound it in there again. Maybe it'll fall through the cracks and go West Coast way. McGinnity had time to steady and align himself, but the kick hasn't got enough on it. Into the square. That's more fodder for Johnson.
He did well getting back. But once again, the Eagles so wasteful inside forward 50, or with that kick inside the forward 50. Their tools just aren't grabbing marks at the moment. I think it's more to do with the kicks inside rather than their capacity.
Possession 18 that was for Johnson. Free kick to Griffin. 3:12 on the clock. And now Pavlich, who's had some second quarter.
This is possession number 10 for the quarter for Pavlich, and 17 for the game.
Well, there are plenty who think he should be playing forward, but with the spread of tools that they've got today, they look at the more dangerous side with him playing in the middle at the moment. There's a clever kick that finishes almost out in the full. I mean, top of the square is probably the most efficient there.
But it gives them time with 2.5 minutes to set up here and get a goal before half-time, George.
Well, the troops all arrived a little late. Cox was able to get a decisive knockdown to Hill. That is flirting with danger in defensive 50. No damage done. Hearn had absolutely nothing to go to initially, and he waited and eventually found something, and that was Lynch. So maybe on the counter here, the Eagles. McGinnity's whipping through the centre of the ground, but he decides there was too many elements of risk involved. So along the line is the order of the day. Darling and also Dawson. And we're down to 2 minutes 16. Clancy Pearce.
Nice smother in there by Marston.
You are the man that sees all smothers, Jared.
Great indicator of where your head's at, Hutto.
Hopefully not where the foot is, as Selwood goes wide to his brother.
See if they can get a good entry here. Bombed it in again.
Darling came with a run. Broughton. And it's over and out.
On the full.
On the full.
Oh, so
It's come off his boot and it's flicked it off.
So Hill, who has the element of mercurial about him, he's quite capable of producing, and he's been their main goal kicker this year, and a good spread of goals, 17-7 going into today for Josh Hill.
Oh, that's that sort of game.
Do you think it'll open up in the second half, or are we going to be in for this sort of battle for the whole game?
It usually does, but not always. But with this heat, you just wonder whether Freo can go the distance.
Sandilands for Griffin. It really has been noticeable, hasn't it? Particularly in this area of the ground, they've had big targets to kick to. It's given them a chop out.
Well, it's a battle. It's a selection gamble in some ways that Ross Lyon was prepared to take, taking the extra ruckman in, which is going to rob them a little bit of their running power, but hasn't affected them so far. Usually fatigue hits twice just before half-time, and of course again late in the game.
Well, it is just before half-time now. Inside the last minute, Lynch, Natanui didn't have to jump that time. He worked his way beautifully to the front. This could be a big blow at half-time. The Eagles, indecision.
Oh, great defence.
And it was a good mark, but Darling, I think, just wasn't quite sure where the footy was going.
Fremantle's three defenders, McFarlane, Johnson and Sylvain, they have been fantastic. Their ability to read the play has been a highlight of this first half.
Well, Johnson went again then. He had to. A little creative stuff from Mundy. Nice little turn of the body from Johnson. Sets up Neal from halfback. We're on the countdown now. 25 seconds to go. Had no long targets, so takes it out wide. Went to Pavlich. Pretty sound philosophy. Quick kick Crichton, though. Puts it back in West Coast hands. Gaff gets on the bike with a couple and a third, and he advances to half forward. They wind up for one more opportunity. Shepherd waits down, clears his head. Seconds counting down again. Clever little manoeuvre from Josh Hill. Still maybe not quite. And the siren beats them, and it feels like a 0-0 draw at half-time. It's 20 each. 2-8 the West Coast to 3-2-20.
Well, 5 goals, but it's been a magnificent game of footy. Really entertaining. The Eagles have been wasteful in front of goals, but the Dockers look dangerous when they've got the ball. Don't usually say this, but this has been a wonderful game with 5 goals kicked.
Well, stay with us. There's plenty of footy to come from Patersons Stadium.